You know, like when people make references to a film or they make a joke in reference to a film and everyone's laughing like, oh, classic, yes. I'm always that person that's like nodding along. Hopefully no one's gonna ask me a question that's like specific to that film, which is crazy because I grew up watching so many movies. I took film classes in college. In high school, randomly, my computer science teacher would just show us movies every single day instead of teaching us Microsoft Word. So you would think that I would be well versed in the movie classic culture. And there are some that I have seen. Like I've seen Shawshank, I've seen Goodfellas, I've seen The Godfather. But there are some that I have not seen. So I decided, actually, this was a really good idea from one of my really good friends to do kind of a series of me watching these movies and then reviewing them. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna do it on my YouTube channel. I weekly go to the movies with my friends and review the latest new releases. So if you wanna see more current up-to-date films, then you should check me out on TikTok and Instagram. So the first film that I will be popping my classic cherry with, the first film that I'm going to be watching in this series is Pulp Fiction. I felt this one was the most important one to watch first. One, because this one is my dad's favorite film. He loves Pulp Fiction. He quotes it probably all the time, and it's even more of an embarrassment that I have not seen this because he loves this film. It is directed and written by Quentin Tarantino. I've only seen one of his other movies, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'm pretty sure is the name of it. I didn't really love that film. I appreciated it for what it was, but it was not on my top list. You know, like he's famous for these classic shots in all of his stuff, and he loves showing feet in his movies, and he loves the use of motherfucker in his movies. So that's pretty much what I know about Quentin Tarantino. In the cast, we have John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Bruce Willis, Tim Roth, incredible actors, seasoned, classic actors. So I know that this film is probably going to be really good. I also want to keep in mind when I go through these classic films, the time in which they were released and written. I know that when I watch these classic films, I can't place them in the same category as current day films. With the times and themes, and certain things were probably canceled now that in these films are not gonna slide, you know what I mean? So I have that in mind. This film came out in 1994, which was 5 years before I was born. And it is in the crime thriller category. I know nothing of this plot. I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna guess and say like it's like two detectives. I don't know why I'm actually guessing. I can just look up so I'm super excited to watch this film. If you also want to watch this film because you're just curious about it as well and you've never seen it either, there's no shame. Right now it is on Amazon Prime and Apple TV for like $3.99. If you have Pluto TV, it's free. I have so many subscriptions that I don't want to download another one. So I'm gonna watch this movie and then I will come back with my dissertation on what I think. You guys can also follow me on Letterboxd. I will be rating all of these films and putting it into a list of some sort, but I am following an already pre-made list of classic movies. So I'll have that list down below. It's over like 100 films that are considered classic. Terrible. And I just want to say, like, the term classic film, I'm basing that off of just movies that everyone seems to have seen or that are just kind of like cemented into the film world. You know what I mean? Like E.T. Everyone has seen E.T. Everyone knows about E.T. I would consider that a classic film. But if you have some classic films that you think are goated into the film world, drop them down below and I will let you know if I've seen them or not. And if I haven't, I'll add it to my list. Anyways, I'm gonna order this movie and watch it, and I can't wait to let you guys know what I think about it. I just finished Pulp Fiction. I took notes on my computer where there's a lot to discuss. So he thinks that means to go play. It doesn't. I think the runtime officially was like 2 hours and something. So this film won many awards, which I probably figured that it would have. I think like up until maybe like the third quarter of the way, I had no idea what was going on. I was wondering like, what do these storylines have to do with each other? What do these characters have to do with each other? Essentially, they don't, except the time and place in which they all intersect. Like definitely by the end, everyone had a purpose. Everyone's story was completed, and you kind of knew where characters were ending up. Okay, so on to some of the notes that I took while watching the film. Soundtrack, amazing. I feel like a lot of people has said that in the past. A lot of the songs I already knew because of my dad, so loved it. Like I also said before watching this film, I had seen one Quentin Tarantino film, which was a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I love when directors or writers have these Easter egg things, if you will, that in every film that they're a part of, you know that that's like their little tag. It's kind of like a producer's tag in music. Like Quentin Tarantino has the yellow. It's I call it the Quentin Tarantino yellow. I don't know if that's like what it's actually called, but in almost like all of his movies, there's the yellow, and it's just kind of like satisfying to see that. Visually, I thought the entire movie was very pleasing and aesthetically pleasing to look at, and cinematically just really beautiful. And you can definitely see where other films take that as inspiration. I love when films are intentional about everything, like to the set design, to placements, product placements, to coloring, like all of it. It's so intentional, and it does add to the story. The Jack Rabbit and Slim's car scene when they're at the restaurant, I want that to be a real thing. I don't know if it's a real thing. I probably should have Googled if it was before I said it, but I think that whole concept is really cool, and I would love to personally experience something like that. I kind of mentioned this before, but a lot of the shots in the movie were so beautiful, and just like if you could pause the film and take a screen grab, I would want it as like a picture in my home. Specifically the one where Uma Thurman's character, when she wakes up from the overdose of like adrenaline, and they're all kind of looking at her like, how was you cool? That was, I think that shot was really pretty in a weird way, and I would love to have that as like an image in my home. And I appreciate when film and filmmakers and cinematographers take that into consideration. Another film that does that really well, Better Man. I freaking love that film so much, and I think everyone should go see that film. But I think Better Man does a good job of that, and also just being intentional with every single scene. This is not a Better Man review, but I have to mention it because a lot of what I'm saying and praising about Pulp Fiction, I feel like Better Man does that, and which is why I love that film a lot. Anyways, I knew that Quentin Tarantino loved the motherfucker word. I forgot that he loves to say the N-word. He loves white people saying the N-word in the film. I'll always think it's like unnecessary unless it's like a period piece. This was set and filmed in the 90s. So I feel like if this was set in the 60s or 50s, then that would have made sense for someone like that. But like, you're in the 90s in LA. I don't know. I feel like it was just uncomfy, and he got off on saying it. But yeah, I didn't like that. My favorite quote from the movie was,
I'm prepared to scour the earth for that motherfucker. If Butch goes to Indochina, I want a nigga hiding in a bowl of rice ready to pop a cap in his ass.
I will take care of it.
I don't know why, I thought that was just really funny. And I loved it. This film also, just considering like the time that it was made and released, a lot of the, I forget how it pushed the envelope a lot. The drug scene, like him explicitly like taking out the needle and snorting the lines of cocaine, like I feel like now in films that's so common. It's like, oh yeah, I would be surprised if a film didn't have that in there. That's something you don't see, and you certainly don't see a black man getting bent over. Can I say that on YouTube? You don't see that in a film back in the 90s. So that was definitely like new, I guess. It's interesting and beautiful the way that it all gets tied back together, which I really, really enjoy that. And it just makes me feel like, okay, I didn't just waste 2 hours to watch a movie and have a bunch of questions. I did rate this movie 3 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. I do appreciate Quentin Tarantino as a filmmaker and a writer. I feel like you just have such intentionality with everything, and I think that's just my word, my theme is intentionality. These kinds of aesthetics make me want to be a better writer, and hopefully one day a screenwriter. So yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5. If you guys have seen this movie, what did you rate it? I would want to know. And did my review influence you to go watch this movie? Let me know. The next movie on my classic list, I don't know yet. There's a lot. Like I said, I will have that list linked down below on Letterboxd. It's not my list, someone else made it, but follow me on Letterboxd to keep up with all the movies that I rate. Also follow me on TikTok, because that's where I will post my weekly reviews of new movies that come out. And that is all. Thank you guys for watching this lovely video, and I will see you guys in the next one.